I recently got to catch up with a good friend in Minnesota. He's a preacher, actually, and he told me about the time that he went to China. And in China, they have this square where a lot of the foreigners can go to speak, especially English speaking, for the locals to come and listen to them. It's an opportunity for them to learn and to hear more of English speaking. So a lot of people flock to there. He was approached by one girl who was trying to get information from him and find out who he was. And keep in mind, at the same time, the government actually has a KGB set there, so that way they can deter religious leaders from trying to bring Christ or God into the region. They've been jailed, they've been persecuted, a lot of people have even been killed for doing so. So he tells her he's a teacher. He says he's a religious teacher, and just to see if she would catch on. She comes back later and says, "Hey, can you come back next week, and then do you mind coming with me to my village?" He said, "Sure, no problem," thinking, could this be one of the government officials that secretly planned to maybe try to jail me, or is this actually an opportunity to spread the word of God? So he took a chance of faith, and this young girl comes back to him the following week, and they get on a train and take about a 2.5, 3 hour train ride out to the middle of nowhere in China. He doesn't know at all where he's going. He's walking with the girl, and she brings him into a room, and sitting there is about 25, 30 people. And she proceeds to tell him in her broken English that we found this book, and we've been reading this book, we want to learn more about it. She gives him the book, and it's the Word of God. It's actually the Holy Bible. So he begins to preach to them, and it went on for about 4 hours because this girl had to translate from English into Chinese, and she had very broken English, so it took a long time. And as he's teaching them, he's helping them to learn about how the church started and what it was like after Jesus went to the cross and rose on the third day. So she goes back and she talks to the people. She talks to her folks on the side, and they're speaking in Chinese, and she's communicating with them, and they're discussing everything that they had just studied with my friend. She comes back to him and says, "We've done all these things. All these things that you read about in the book of Acts, they had already done them." They said, we read what Christ did, who he was, and we tried as best as we could to follow what we feel is the right thing to do. They had broke bread with each other, brought each other into their homes, just sharing this one Bible, experiencing, living the Word of God. They had even gone down to the river and baptized each other. I mean, this must mean what it looks like when Jesus talked about having the heart of a child, the innocence of a child. They were so pure and so holy in their worship. They had nothing tainting their worship. There was nobody to tell them what denomination to be a part of or how you're supposed to dress when you go worship, but it was simply just the pure fragrance of God that they worshiped. And to me, this is just an incredible thing because they didn't have a seminary that they went to. They didn't have Bible scholars who taught them. It was one simple Bible that these group of 30 people got together and they read and they believed it and they lived it. And to me, that's true worship.